So Bernie, thanks for joining us at Adapt CIO Edge here in Melbourne. And today's theme is the CIO's role in driving growth and leading innovation. When you think about that theme in terms of your role, what does that mean to you?
My role is, and I've been in my role for 9 months, so just to give that a bit of context, I came out of a completely different industry. But in my current role, which is really down that medical services path, we deal with a lot with people who have deceased or people who are deceased and their families. Growth for us is about improvement to the experience of the people that interface with us. Mm-hmm. It's about being able to provide a consistency of service based on a volume that's indeterminate. And it's also about being able to attract and maintain the best talent that we can for the organisation to deliver the best that it can. So growth to us is growing so we can attract the right people, deliver the right service, and maintain at all points in time the dignity of the people that unfortunately have passed that we are engaged with and their families.
And it's a really important role, I think, that you're playing there as well, and helps us to really put that human face on why we go about digitization, why we're trying to strive for that greater experience, and underneath all of that, trying to modernize and to help us to deliver those services in the most human-centered kind of way.
Absolutely, and human-centered is a key. And you talk growth and we talk innovation. VIFM, which is where I work, the organisation, has one of the best forensic databases in the world. In 1995, it was set up. The government of the day sponsored 10 years worth of data before that to be entered. So the data that VIFM possess, or Victorian people possess, is unique within the world. And that data, the value of that, we're now seeing, because we're at a point with technology that we can do artificial intelligence, machine learning, and we can use that data to help people who are alive, but also help to determine what happened to people that are no longer with us. So, and again, improve that experience as we go through. So through, certainly with VIFM's association with Monash University, machine learning, artificial intelligence are all being conducted over that data, those data cubes. And we're seeing some incredible results, and they're allowing for knowledge to be shared both within Australia and within Victoria and within Australia, within that forensic community, but also overseas. We have a number of offshore universities that are now utilising the autonomised data, or the data that doesn't have any of the personal information in it, to grow their knowledge and to increase and to develop things that they couldn't in the past. So that's just wonderful. It really is.
And the value there, both for the people that you're working with in that moment of need, but also your internal staff, is just tremendous. But with great data comes great responsibility. And I like how you spoke to that anonymized piece as well, because if we're going to drive these partnerships that will help us to uplift our data capabilities through better digitization, pursuing the right outcomes and in the right way, we've got to have the right level of trust.
Trust, which comes down to really governance, compliance and ethics, are certainly key to what we do within IT, but as well as the team. And the IT team that VIFM possess and has, and they're a testament to people before myself, is a very strong team that understands the context of the data. It's not just numbers, it's numbers about people. And that is crucial in the team that we have and the team that we grow and the culture that's there and the culture that's developing. Moving forward is understanding that. And if we talk about, I guess, innovation within the organisation, we're in the process of replacing a number of key systems. And they're being replaced not because to improve and to allow the volume of data, and the volume of data is increasing, to be able to manage in a way that improves the outcomes for the future. And by that, I mean that technology now, not from a people perspective, but from the data that can be collected, is DNA sampling is now readily available. It's not a unique thing that's only done in a laboratory in one or two places around the world. MRI scanning of bodies can now be done at a very cost-effective manner. Photography is now at 4K. So the volume of data and the complexity of the data that can and is collected is expanding exponentially. To be able to manage that and to support that and to support the users of that, be those forensic services, be those academia, we need to innovate and evolve and build systems that allow that to occur.
Because really, and so many directions we could go here, but when I think about data, datum, things given, the explosion in that number of data points, it's like walking along the beach. We don't talk about that sand as, well, millions of pieces of discrete materials that have that certain texture and feeling as we walk along them. It's that collection of feeling as well. So there's a difference between those things given, data, the information and insight that it offers, but until we have the understanding within our people for how those data, this information will help to deliver those experiences for people in their time and need, it can be quite complex. How do you deal with that complexity?
Absolutely. From an IT aspect, we deal with that complexity and we deal with it by a couple of things. The first of all, we understand that our people could be affected by it. So we have a very strong wellness program around all of the staff, but certainly around around our IT people. So that if they are exposed or are feeling or are associating with that data in some way, there are services available to them that they can take and use and help assist them with that. So we're very conscious of that in terms of the IT people. The second part is that we're very conscious of the compliance and the security, and again the ethics and so forth, and certainly the security around that data to make sure that it's managed in the best way possible with that. And again, circling back around to that innovation component with that, we need to make sure that the data that is used for, how would you say it, is used for the betterment or used to improve the outcomes. And by that I mean that there's a lot of knowledge in people's heads, especially within an organisation that has people that are there for 20, 30 years. They may start as an undergraduate and end up doing their PhD and go right through. It's how can we encapsulate that data using technology that allows somebody who hasn't had all of those experiences or has a unique case that they're looking at, how can we assist them to work through that to get the best outcome? So whether that's analysing massive data to determine a certain injury occurred or a certain medical condition occurred, and allowing or pointing them in a direction they may not have thought of, or reassuring them that the way that they or what they have determined is the best. So that's certainly something that the studies are very heavy about with that. From an IT aspect, we need to make sure that the data is kept consistent, it's kept clean, it's kept auditable, trackable, and that we can put our hand on our heart and say that that data is the same data that was collected, is the same data that's being used, and is the data and has not been changed or altered in any way.
Yeah. And particularly from that IT perspective, simplify, digitize, and make these foundations as consistent as possible. Because in your sector, your organisation, so many different GUI problems that we're dealing with. It's about how we assist our people to deliver the best care to our end customers as well. And if you were going to leave one last thought, the ADAPT community, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good one. From my aspect, it's simplify. And by that I mean it's very easy to add complexity. And complexity builds up over time. Take a breath, look at the outcome, look at what the inputs are, and understand that the way it's been done for the last 20 years or 30 years may not be the best way, or it may be the way it has to be done, but at least you've reassured yourself and you know why it has to be done that way before you change it.
Mm-hmm. It all comes back to the why.
To the why, 100%. And keep asking. One piece of advice I got when I went into this new role is think like a child. And I do. I still ask questions and I keep coming back to that because I don't know the industry that I'm in. Mm-hmm. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctorate or a doctor. I don't have that medical background. I don't have the chemistry background. Mm-hmm. I need to ask why. And think like a child allows me to do that.
Yeah.